All right, welcome to our learning session today. How to bring YouTube comments into your live stream. And by that, I mean, how do you bring them literally live on screen while people are chatting them into your video stream or video feed? And currently, there's probably more than one way to do this, but one of the ways is through the PTZOptics plugin, which was just developed by our friends over at PTZOptics. And we have them on hand, Paul Richards, the mastermind behind this plugin. Paul, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, man. Well, are you ready to give a demo on how somebody can take this plugin and sort of plug it in to Wirecast and to YouTube and to WordPress and start getting comments to display live as people chat them?
Yes, I am, and I'm here in my classroom virtual set that we give away for free to all the Wirecast customers at ptzoptics.com/landing/Wirecast.
All right.
.html.
It's looking like a lovely classroom.
It's a little classroom here, and I have behind me the Google API Manager.
Okay.
And that's something that we're going to have to dig into. But before we do, I'm going to show you the plugin itself and just familiarize you guys with WordPress. So let me just show you what WordPress is in case you've never seen it before. So WordPress is a kind of like a website. It's a content management system that lives in the cloud. It's a website, so it's in the cloud, and it actually has a backbone of PHP, which is what we use, and you can add plugins to WordPress to make it more powerful.
So in other words, you would buy a domain, and then you would say, you go to WordPress.com or something and just say, please host a WordPress site on my domain. So let's say I buy like mywebsite.com, and I would ask my domain host to install, or I would install a WordPress sort of site on that domain.
Yes, and WordPress is so popular that almost every hosting platform supports it, and it's usually a one-click install with the latest version of WordPress.
Nice.
And the only thing I would say is always keep your WordPress up to date because it's so popular, it's also the most hacked system.
Gotcha.
Now, as long as you're up to date, they fix it immediately, and you can stay safe. But yes, it is the most popular system. Anyone with a domain should be able to install it with one click.
Okay, cool. So once you've got it installed on your domain, then you head over to PTZOptics or Chat Connect Pro, or where do you go to get your plugin?
Yeah, I decided to call it chatconnectpro.com.
Okay.
Because I thought that kind of made sense. It's going to be a chat connection site. So It's going to do YouTube, and Facebook is coming very, very soon after some quick vetting. It's in beta. But right now, definitely YouTube support, which we're going to show right now. And it's built to hopefully manage your chat room experience as a live streamer so that not only you can see all your live chats, but you can also, in one place from YouTube and Facebook, but also bring the data into Wirecast, which is what we're going to show today.
Cool. Okay, so you download the plugin, and it just gets downloaded after you pay for it. It's like $5 or $0 if you do the free version. It just downloads as a zip file, right?
It's a zip file, and you hit Add New Plugin, and then you hit the Upload button. And let me take this full screen here.
This is in WordPress
hit the
now.
Upload plugin in WordPress. And as soon as we upload that plugin, basically we are able to upload the file.
And
it
you
will
just
be
click the zip file, huh?
You just click the zip file, and then you go into installed plugins, and you'll see here that YouTube live streaming chat will be there, and you just activate it.
Awesome. That's pretty straightforward.
So once it's been activated, all we have to do is go ahead and down into settings, and you'll see that there will be a live streaming tab. And that live streaming tab will bring up your YouTube API manager. I'm skipping one step, which I've already done, which is integrating into the Google API. So I'm going to show that off now. Right now you can see it's logged into PTZOptics channel, and it's showing me just some information about the YouTube API, how many views I have, how many subscribers, how many videos, and then right here it'll automatically show all of your scheduled live streams.
Got it.
So it does not work with the Stream Now feature yet. That's something that we're looking into. It works with scheduled live streams. And just a little tip on scheduled live streams, the reason why I really like them, yes, it's a pain in the butt. You can't use the Stream Now button and just stream to YouTube and your key never changes. But When you're done streaming to a scheduled stream, all of your views and all of your audience hours of audience retention, all of the video time that's been watched during your live show is attributed to the on-demand version of your YouTube video.
Oh, nice.
So when we live stream to a scheduled stream and we get 200 viewers throughout an hour-long broadcast, when the video is published to YouTube, it has 200 views. And all of the most important thing with YouTube's Google algorithm for figuring out which videos to show first is watch time. So all of that watch time during your live video is attributed to your on-demand video. It's kind of a best practice, in my opinion, for SEO.
And that doesn't happen with the stream now?
No, it does not. The stream now attributes all of the watch time and the views to your channel. So your channel itself, that one key, that one link that you have for all of your streams, is what's gathering your channel gets statistics. And those statistics are actually used to rank you in the at least if we're talking about YouTube here, how they rank you in the live
category
channel. If you go to youtube.com/live, there's the live categories, as you know. And that's how they sort 1 through 100 for each category is based on the channel statistics.
Very interesting. I did not know that.
So if you're trying to start a 24/7 live streaming channel and compete with NASA and everyone else out there, use your channel. If you're trying to create niche videos that you want to rank for organically with the on-demand video for years to come, it might be a good idea to attribute all that view time and the views to that specific on-demand video.
All right, schedule live events. Great tip. All right, so you need to hook up basically your plugin in WordPress to your YouTube account, whichever one you want to hook it up to.
Yes, let's do that next. So what we're going to do, actually I have a tab open for this, is we are going to go to the Google Developer Console. And let me just undo this part there. Okay, so there you can see the whole thing. So here's the console here. And I actually have a little black square that I'm going to use so that no one can see my API keys. If you guys see them, then I can erase them. But I don't know how many places I'm using them, so I just thought I'd put a box over it.
All right.
So the first thing we have to do is create a application, and that's done right here. We add an application, and we go into that application, and we enable the YouTube API. And this is in the setup guide that you can find. I think it's right at chatconnectpro.com. At the setup guide, it does walk you through all of this process. So we're at the plugin setup stage where we need to get our client ID, our client secret, and our key API. I know it sounds a little hard, but once this is done, you only need to do it once and you'll never have to do it again. So we go into the YouTube data API, and you can see that it says disable because it's already been enabled. But all you'd have to do here, if you've never done this, is click the enable button there. So once it's been enabled, put my black box up, we click the credentials section, and there's two different types of credentials. There's an API key, which you can use for all kinds of different things. It's always used whenever you're requesting information from Google. So you create one API key, and you create one OAuth client ID. And the OAuth client ID gives us our client ID and our client secret, and then the key API. You hit save, you're done. The boring stuff is over. I'm sorry, guys. We had to step through that process.
So you'll need each one of those, and that's all that really is getting the plugin to talk with YouTube. But it's pretty straightforward. You just, like you said, once you figure it out, you just need to fill in something for each one of those steps. But we'll walk you through that. And I can make a video in more depth about that too.
I think it's a good thing for people to know. I mean, if you're trying to use YouTube's information, it's a must do. It has to be done. So we tried to step you through that. And once that's done, as soon as it's done, you'll automatically be able to log into all of your Google accounts, not just one. So if you have multiple YouTube channels, you can log into any of them. In fact, I can disconnect from the YouTube API right now and then connect right back using any Google account and choose any of my accounts. So I have quite a few. And I can click allow. And once that's done, now I just hit save, and it pulls up the channel that it's connected to, all the views, and now we have full access to the API through WordPress.
Okay.
So we've gotten this far. One of the things that's really cool is every time you do a live stream that's been connected to this account, you're going to have the ability to go back and take a look at, let's see, here it is here, some of your chat room. All of the chats in your chat room are stored in the database forever.
Mm-hmm.
So this is important for me personally because a lot of times I don't have time, a one-man show. I mean, some people are different, but I want to look back at some of the chats. What did they say? What was that answer? What was that question? And this is all downloadable via XML, so you can look at it in Excel. What I do sometimes is I go through and I take some of the questions and I quote my audience in my blog post later on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm writing a blog post about the show, and then Margaret Willman said, "Thanks for sharing." Or, maybe somebody said something really interesting, and now I have this that I can quote from the chat that happened just in the live stream not too long ago.
Right. So this is a quick question for you here. Like Wirecast also integrates with the YouTube API, live API, and along with a lot of Facebook APIs and things like that. It doesn't pull chat information at this point. But what's stopping you from eventually just allowing people to type in their YouTube username and password, and then having that auto pull whatever live information from the API at that point? Do you have to deploy the app as a Google approved app at that point?
Well, the way the API key works is that it's only going to authenticate into the accounts that you, from a Google standpoint, you have access to.
Mm-hmm.
So when I disconnected from the YouTube API, I had to reconnect and authenticate into the account that API key has access to.
Mm-hmm.
So it all kind of goes back to that API key.
Mm-hmm.
And then
we don't personally need an API key for everyone else's YouTube accounts. We can still pull data from that. Maybe that's a limitation of these chat analytics? I'm not sure. But it's something, I don't know, that just occurred to me as I was watching this. And I'm looking at the chat comment. For someone who may not be familiar with API keys or how Google works with all that, maybe down the road, if there's a way to do that so they can just have their YouTube password, it's worth something maybe looking into, because I know that's how we try to make it as easy as possible for Wirecast users. Perhaps there's a possibility to do that there.
I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying. Just a direct. So I do believe that may be possible. And it would definitely require an API key and potentially, like, let's say if you wanted to do that as Wirecast for your customers,
mm-hmm.
they may all be using your API key, but being able to log in themselves, potentially.
I wonder.
Because I know an API key is going to need to be used for this. I'm almost positive.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, the way we've set this up is kind of like, I think it's a little bit more secure because each person gets to have their own ability to use their own API key. So it is a little bit more flexible for the power users,
mm-hmm.
but it is a little difficult for those who have never used WordPress or an API before. So
mm-hmm.
I've kind of worked with both types of clients. So once that's done, what we can do is we can go ahead and I'm going to use the 2017 Streaming Awards for a demonstration here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into our lower thirds title creator. And this is how we actually bring in the information into Wirecast. So we have the ability, it's very basic currently, but it is fairly robust. So what we can do is we can upload a background. And I actually have one that's called Who's in the Chat. And I think that's a really good way to kind of start with this plugin, is to upload a PNG file. You can see it here that has the ability to drag and drop various variables, really, that we're pulling from API. So this is the profile image of the person chatting.
Mm-hmm.
This one here is the user display name. And then this one here is the chat message itself.
And as you're bringing those down, I just saw them change from username to Nikas Mustafa, and chat message to hello, this is my message. So they're almost changing into what they might look like from a real user.
Yep. And we can go ahead in here, for example, we could have our total YouTube subscribers, and you could create a PNG file that just shows your YouTube subscribers, for example. And that one in particular looks a little funny. So what we'll do is we'll change the color to white, which I believe is FFF. It is CSS. Again, I'm trying to make things with some drop downs, make them a little easier, but currently, and we'll make it just a little bigger.
Basic version here and just build from there. This is Pretty cool. So right now you're just changing the color of,
Yep.
the different variables. And by variables, we just mean things that will change, like how many subscribers there are, or what's the name of the person that's chatting the message, or the picture of the person who's chatting.
Exactly. So we've done that. I think I made the profile image 150 by 150. And if we click this button here, what we'll see is the updates. So there's 3,783 subscribers on this YouTube account. This is the person who's chatted. And what I have here is just, here is the YouTube page itself. So if I type in, testing on Wirecast Live, and we go back to here, it'll go ahead and change on a loop.
So it's updating live right there. And so basically, I guess we're at the point where we can see a lower third title. We can see that it's pulling real-time chats from your YouTube stream with the person who chatted them. In this case, it's just you. But if you guys head over to the YouTube, the Streaming Awards stream, and you want to chat in there, you'll actually see this stuff update live as it types in. But right now it's just on a web page. What do you do with that ball? Like why is that? Where do you go from there? How do you get that into your live
Very
stream?
good question. Let me drag Wirecast over here. And all I've done here is I have added an input. Maybe we should just go ahead and delete this one just so I can do it fresh here. So this YouTube API, this would be whatever your domain is, whatever your domain that's running the WordPress plugin is on. We can go ahead and add the web display. And I guess we'll call this a new web display. We'll call it YouTube Live API. And we type in the address here and the width and height that we've selected, which is 1920 by 1080. And it does have a transparent background. So we go ahead and click OK. And there we go. It'll pull that in. Now it does pull in, this is one thing I'm hoping to update or change, is it does pull on a little tiny border around the side.
Okay.
Which if we just up the scale just a hair, we'll get rid of. Okay. So there it is.
Nice.
So that would be,
that's the real-time overlay.
So if we update it here, update check 1, 2, 3, and we go back to Wirecast. This is, I would say there's about, I think I have it set to wait 10 seconds, but there it is.
Wow, that is really cool. Actually, since it's just a web page, anybody can pull it in anywhere. So I can actually pull in your stream chats right here if I wanted to, right? So
yeah,
what's the address of that page?
Let me chat it to you because there's a question mark inside there, and I'll chat it to you through Zoom.
Okay. Well, actually, I wouldn't have access to Zoom, but that's all right. We could do that as one thing that would be cool.
Oh, you don't have to
pull in the stream right here if I wanted to and put it in my Wirecast and show the real-time chats as they were being updated or pushed to that page, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
so that's a good point. So actually, that's kind of interesting that you say that, because now that I think about it, the way this is set up, you could have somebody managing the lower thirds from anywhere in the world.
Right.
I didn't even think of that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So
even if you weren't using the YouTube API.
Yeah. Or if anybody, for example, let's say, I mean, you need access to other people's channels or pages, I guess. But if they were publicly available, if that API data was made publicly available for anyone to pull, then you could say, in theory, just check in on your favorite streamers' chats and be like, what are they saying on so-and-so's chat? And throw that on a lower third. And then what are they saying on someone else's chat? It'd be interesting. But anyone you want to share this URL to will be able to display those chat messages, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think one of the things you said there that made me think of this is that you can also completely skip the upload background and just have the data come through. And through Wirecast and using layers, you could actually have an existing lower third and just have your latest subscribers come through, or just the chat messages. Yeah,
you don't necessarily have to upload a lower third into the web browser. Just put that in Wirecast and then just drag your drop zones wherever you want them and then pull those in from the web page. Now, one caveat with Wirecast, just to note, is that if you make layout changes to the page, there aren't real-time callbacks to the page. every time. The only thing that's going to change are those little drop zone API stuff. So if you've changed the location of your lower third, or say the subscribers from like the lower right hand corner of the web page to the upper left, then you might then what you'll need to do in Wirecast is just go back and just refresh your web page source. So then that should grab the new location. But that was just one thing I learned while I was playing around with this, Paul, which is that Wirecast, and I'll have to talk to our developers to see maybe there's a way we can set like a real-time call back to pages, and maybe we can say just check back every 1 second or something to see if something's updated or refresh the page. But very cool. So guys, that's pretty straightforward. Then you can Paul's basically you've given people the power to pull in their live data from YouTube and soon Facebook chats, and then just present that data on a simple web page. Very, very cool. And then that can go so many places from there.
Yeah, that's really the gist of it. That's the power of it. But the only other kind of small caveats is the ability to store those chats. So for some people, those chat messages, like for example, let's say Apple or Google has a humongous live stream. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those, but the chat room's just, I mean, you can't see it. But now you have the ability to not only store it to a database, but also download it so you can look at it in Excel. And sometimes for some people, I think that data, what are the keywords? What are people talking about in my live chat? And you can actually search all that data and use it, I would imagine. I mean, I haven't come into anyone who's actually using that data. But I think for me personally, as a small show, just the ability to look back, who was talking, who was there, what were they talking about? I didn't have time, I missed it. That kind of thing. And then hopefully, fingers crossed. I know we're definitely going to have all the Facebook API stuff available as drag and drop fields like I just showed. But what I really, really want, and it seems to be difficult, but I think we're going to get there, is one place to see YouTube and Facebook chats. I think, and I know we're going to have it. I think the next iteration is going to have them both next to each other, side by side. So you at least have one website to go to look at them both. But what I'd love is just a single stream. We will be able to, and I don't understand exactly why all this is. You can do things and you can't do other things, but in your lower third, you will be able to have a basically the chat messages coming from YouTube and Facebook, and that carousel works. For whatever reason, storing the messages in the database and then recalling them, they have to use two different databases, one for YouTube and one for Facebook.
Oh, really?
But it's something I'm really interested in, and I think we're not going to reinvent the wheel here. We're not going to change the world with this plugin, but I think hopefully my passion was just to let's connect this data. Let's try to connect a few more dots here. And hopefully maybe in 6 months to a year, maybe it'll be a little bit more advanced.
Yeah. So quick question on that is, what about curation? Are you offering curation tools on the page or in the plugin yet? So rather than just have whatever somebody chats go live automatically, will you be able to pick and choose?
That is a really good question. And currently, no. And that is kind of an issue. So on YouTube and Facebook, there are chat filters that can be used upstream. So for example, if you go into your YouTube account, you can go in and say, if anyone says the F word or any other word that you don't want them to ever say, it can automatically filter them out. So you can filter upstream currently. I do think that queuing is an important feature, and I think it's a great feature, and I would love to have it. Currently, I think that probably for now, it's really just kind of a raw API connect, and we're going to definitely have it for YouTube and Facebook. And if there's enough interest, I think that we can continue to add. I think that would be the next big feature. If there's enough interest.
Well, yeah, you guys vote with your dollars. If this is something that you want Paul to keep working on and keep developing, then you should definitely help him pay his developers to do the work by going and supporting him by downloading the plugin. So Paul, thank you for demoing that for us. I think that was really cool what you're doing. Again, I'm all about access to data and making sure that people can have the tools they want and need in order to do the types of streams or empower the voices that they need to feel that they feel need to be empowered. So thank you so much. I think this is another one of those tools that just enriches our landscape here. So thanks so much.
Hey, my pleasure. That's exactly how I look at it. One more little tiny tool in your tool shed, which is what we wanted to build. So thank you so much for having me on the show, Andrew.
Hey, it was my pleasure. Thank you for coming on, and thanks for demoing this. And if you guys are curious where to get this plugin, please head over to chatconnectpro.com, wirecastpro.com and give it a whirl. All right, Paul, thanks. We'll have you on again soon for another learning session. Lots more to talk about, but that concludes it for today. See ya.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
All right, guys. Hope that was helpful for you. I really enjoy diving in deep on things like that. I think it was helpful, hopefully, for you to see exactly how you can connect this with your own YouTube accounts and soon your own Facebook accounts if it's a tool you're interested in. It's a low barrier to entry. He's made it very affordable. And you can see it's just a web page, which is so easy to bring into software like Wirecast and then display on screen. So give it a try if it's something that seems interesting to you. And we will see you back here next week with a chat with Andrew Cho from Adult Swim and lots more and another learning session as well. Thanks for watching. As always, this has been a Wirecast Live learning session.